Hey guys, today I will not be doing a review. Instead, today we're gonna defend a movie. In defense of The Last Jedi. This movie is a little bit complicated because either you love it or you absolutely hate it. I've never met anybody that is in between those two. So if you are, please holla at the comments because I gotta know you. I personally like it. And here's why I'm here to defend it. I think it's my favorite movie out of the sequel trilogy. I know some of you might be thinking, this is crazy, why am I even watching this video? But please hear me out. First of all, they brought in to direct Rian Johnson, which many of you at this point might hate, or some of you might actually like. When they first announced that he was going to direct the movie, I was excited because I've seen his work. I love the movie Looper, and he directed it, and I loved that movie. So when he got called to direct this movie, I was like, this is going to be a great movie. One of the problems that the sequel has is that it feels like three different movies. And after watching Force Awakens, which I liked, it's kind of hard to make a movie not knowing pretty much anything about the characters. So what Rian Johnson had to do was make us care for the characters, make us care for Rey, make us care for Finn, for Poe, make us care for Kylo Ren, because we don't really have any motives to care about any of these characters. And we don't know our characters' motives either. For example, Rey. Okay, let's back up. When we see Luke Skywalker for the first time, what do we know about him? He is a farmer in Tatooine. He works with his aunt and uncle on the farm. He wants to become a pilot because, first of all, he's a really good pilot. And second of all his other friends have already left the planet to become pilots. He is pretty handy with mechanical stuff because we see him clean up and kind of repair R2-D2 and C-3PO. And pretty soon we discover that his father was a Jedi and that his father was trained by ObiWan Kenobi. And then his aunt and uncle get shot, incinerated. And he says, I want to become a Jedi like my father before me. And then he wants to out there save the galaxy, save the princess, and train like a Jedi to become a Jedi. So we know our character's background and we know his motivations. Now for character Rey, which Daisy Ridley, great job. I think it's a great cast choice. I really like her performance. Now for character Rey, what do we know about her? She lived in Jakku. She got abandoned there by her parents. She knows pretty much every language because she got to work in the desert. She's a scavenger. So she's also pretty technically handy. She knows combat because she had to defend herself or her life. So we know her background. Now her future, what are her motivations? We know that she's waiting for her parents, but obviously that turns sideways because she leaves the planet. Han Solo offers her a job, which she doesn't want to take. She gets captured by Kylo Ren. She uses her newly Force abilities to escape. And once she escapes and fights and accepts that there's this thing called the Living Force, she goes off to find Luke. Why does she go off to find Luke? We don't know. Maybe she's looking for some answers to questions we don't know. I think Rey's as confused as we are as the audience as to why she's going to search for Luke Skywalker. Like for us, she's searching for Luke Skywalker. Like we know what Luke means. She doesn't really know that. Is she going there to be trained as a Jedi? Is she going there just to bring Luke back? Why is she going in the first place? Why is not Leia going? Or just Chewie alone could go? There's different questions there, but we don't have a motivation for her. We don't know why we should be rooting for her. Just because she's placed in front of us in the screen doesn't really mean that we should root for that person. So Rian Johnson's job was to give us that motivation. So what happens to Rey? She finds Luke Skywalker. She wants to bring him back to the Resistance. If he doesn't want to come back, she at least tells him, hey, tell me why. What should I tell Leia, your sister, why you're not coming back? She also wants to get trained as a Jedi, and but still wanting to know her parents. She wants to know her place in this entire big universe. So now we know her motivation. We know she wants to train. She's determined to it. She wants to know what the heck she's doing in all this place and why all this is happening to her. That's a huge motivation, just to know who you are as a person. Which, again, it was kind of like, okay, in The Force Awakens, it was never really established that that's what she wanted. So at least we get established that in The Last Jedi. Her connection with Kylo Ren, huge part of the movie. I think it was done really well. Actually, more than really well, it was fantastically done. I love watching those scenes. And it's about these two lost souls who find each other. And even though they're both struggling to be who they are, who they're meant to be, they can be just who they are right now with each other. That's just incredible character development for Rey, for Kylo Ren, because their motivations not only become about themselves, but about one another. And the fact that they're on opposite sides of this galactic war just makes it kind of romantic. I'll jump with that to Kylo Ren. Kylo Ren, fantastic character. Ben Solo, fantastic character. I love Adam Driver as an actor, and his performance here in Star Wars just solidifies it. In The Force Awakens, what was his motivation? We know he's Han Solo's son and Leia's son. We know that he turned to the dark side. We don't know why. They say Snoke did it, but we don't even know who Snoke is. Obviously, later we found out it's Palpatine. I guess we were told that his training is not complete. He hates his parents now. He struggles a little bit between the light and the dark, ultimately choosing the dark. His motivation is to become the next Darth Vader, or be what Darth Vader was never meant to do. That's why he says, I will finish what you started. Which is a little bit confusing, because I'm pretty sure Ben Solo would know at some point that Darth Vader turned back into good. Those are just my questions. I'm sure there's plenty of canon out there in comics and stuff that might answer some of these questions that I have, but I don't read that. I go by movies, sometimes some comics, but not too much in depth. He has good motivations, but it could be explained really well. Darth Vader realized he was doing wrong. He turned back to the good side. You should know that, so come back to the good side. But in The Last Jedi, we'll get to know that Snoke makes fun of him. He doesn't want to become this figure, this lesser figure of Darth Vader. And that's why he smashes his helmet. He is killing that image of, I am Darth Vader's grandson. He wants to be like, I am Kylo Ren. I am done with following people's paths, what they thought of me, what they think I am because of who my ancestors were. He's trying to chart his own path. That's, again, huge motivation. That's something that, even though we know he's the villain, we as the audience can root for that. And that's why at the end, him ascending to the Supreme Leader becomes his fulfillment of the arc, I guess. Of his Kylo Ren arc, not of his Ben Solo arc. But he said, I want to become my own person. I want to become my own boss. And he kills his boss. He kills Supreme Leader. And when Rey says, hey, come on, join me. Let's go back to the Resistance. He's like, no. Because back in the Resistance, he's just going to be Ben Solo again, the son of Leia. But here, he can be whatever he wants to be, where everybody's under his control. If it wasn't for The Last Jedi, we would not care about Rey or Kylo Ren. If you do, good for you. I will not fight you. That's your own opinion, but in my opinion, I wouldn't care about Rey or Kylo Ren, the two main protagonists of the sequel trilogy, at all if it wasn't for The Last Jedi. Now I'm going to be fair. A lot of people, the biggest complaint about The Last Jedi is Luke Skywalker. They say, that's not my Luke Skywalker. Luke Skywalker's supposed to be good. Luke Skywalker would have gone back and fought with Leia by his side to save the galaxy. People saying that is not mostly them knowing Luke, but it's what people wanted to see Luke doing. They wanted to see Luke be the supreme Jedi. Literally what Luke Skywalker said in the film. You think I'm just going to go out there with my lightsaber and take down the entire First Order? First of all, in filmmaking, that would have been too easy. As an audience, we all wanted to see that. We all wanted to be like, Force. That's all we wanted to see. For years, obviously, because he was not in the... It was not in the prequels, I mean, as a baby. But that's all we wanted to see. And I think that's why people complain about Luke Skywalker not being that. Because that's what they really wanted to see. And here's why it makes sense to me that Luke didn't want to take on the entire First Order. I guess I should say, I would have loved to see that. It didn't happen, and I'm okay with it. Because I think Star Wars movies are better to take them as they are, as opposed to what you hope for. Luke Skywalker was trained by 2 Jedi Masters, ObiWan Kenobi and Yoda. Now, not that I can recollect from my memory, but Obi-Wan and Yoda both lied to Luke Skywalker for the longest time about his heritage, about who he really was. Not in that training at all. They taught Luke about the mistakes they made as Jedi Masters, about the mistakes they made when the Jedi were in power. It makes sense for Luke Skywalker, when he's a master, not to do the same, not to transfer all his flaws, fails to his students. What did all the Jedi Masters do when they failed? Yoda went to Dagobah and secluded. He didn't try to take out the entire empire with his lightsaber. Obi-Wan Kenobi, he had a mission, but again, he stayed quiet, kept to himself, not really tried to amend the mistakes he did because they were afraid. And he even says it in the Rise of Skywalker. Luke Skywalker says, I was afraid. So in The Last Jedi, he does the same. He failed to his students because he was never able to pass down his own failures, only the good thing. And for most of the movie, he's just secluded, he's stubborn, he's like, I'm just going to teach you 3 lessons, which are powerful lessons. Sadly, one of them is on a deleted scene. Luke Skywalker talks to Yoda and gets this lesson that should have been taught long ago. Young Skywalker, always look into the horizon. This is what you need to know. Bad things happen, and you don't ignore them when they're done. You have to pass down what you know to the people. Completely changes Luke, and I understand that some people at that moment maybe wanted him to grab his X-Wing and just fly away into Crate and save the entire galaxy. We don't really know how much time passed for Luke Skywalker to be like, I gotta be there right now. It makes more sense for him to do his holographic projection towards Crate. Especially because he doesn't really know what the Resistance is. So the fact that he can, maybe he sensed Leia or something, the fact that he can just holographic teleport there, it makes more sense. It's faster. He's trying to repair his mistakes. He learned. Even Luke Skywalker, after all these years, he keeps learning, which I think it's crucial to a character. A character doesn't become all-powerful and then stops. A character should continue to learn from other people's or their own mistakes. Should Luke Skywalker have died in The Last Jedi? No. I think he should have gone all the way to the next movie and died there. Maybe. But if there was a way for Luke Skywalker, if Luke Skywalker had to die on screen, I think the way The Last Jedi did it, it was the perfect way. It sent shivers down my spine. Him looking to the horizon, the 2 suns, and then fades away. It makes absolutely perfect sense for a character to end like that. It was a beautiful shot. And all people are like, if Luke was all powerful, why did he die after that? You gotta remember, Luke Skywalker secluded himself from the Force for all these years. And then all of a sudden he said, boom, I'm gonna go Super Saiyan on this Force and make this super holographic projection across all the galaxy. That's gonna take life force away from you. And that's why he died. He was exhausted, spiritually, mentally, physically. So it made sense why he died, because he did what he did. Now, I get it that what I just said is not gonna change the mind of people. I got a friend that constantly battles me over this, saying I wanted freaking Luke Skywalker taking out a big bad boss. And I understand that. I wish I could have seen that too. But again, Star Wars, you shouldn't take it as what you hope for, but as what you got. And when he fights Kylo Ren, he projects himself in the way that Kylo Ren sees him. Young master with his Anakin lightsaber, because he knows that's what Kylo Ren responds to. So he knew what he was doing. He knew what he got himself into. He was sacrificing himself for the entire hope of the galaxy. And that, if that doesn't scream Luke Skywalker to you, I don't know what will. Another problem people have with the movie is Supreme Leader Snoke. I think Andy Serkis did an amazing job at it. I love his performances. Gollum as Caesar on Planet of the Apes. I love that trilogy, by the way. I think he did an amazing job. He really encaptured the tenacity of Supreme Leader Snoke. He was like cool, calm, and collected. But at the same time, you know that if you step out of line, you're gonna get smacked. So one of the biggest complaints people have is we don't know who Supreme Leader Snoke is, how he rose to power. Personally, I didn't really care about that type of background, because in the original Star Wars trilogy, I mean, obviously we have the sequels now that explain everything, but in the original Star Wars trilogy, we just know that we don't see the Emperor until the second movie. And once we do, we don't have a background over him. We don't know where he's from. We just know that he's the Emperor and he's a big baddie. And sometimes for a boss villain like that, it makes sense. That's why you have that's why you have boss villains and main villains. So Kylo Ren is the main villain, boss villain, Supreme Leader Snoke. Main villain, Darth Vader, boss villain, Emperor Palpatine. So you have something that can just be pure evil without anything else, while you have the other character that actually grows. So as a boss villain, I see Supreme Leader Snoke as just being a big baddie, and that's fine, because we have a main villain. And the way he just commanded the screen, when it's like, come here. I said, come here. He says he can't be defeated. He can't be beaten because he can sense people's minds, because after all, he did connect both Rey and Kylo's mind. And the only way he got killed is because Kylo Ren tricked him. In his mind, he was turning the lightsaber to strike his enemy. And it made perfect sense why he died the way he did. And again, Snoke wasn't really supposed to be there for the entire trilogy. He was supposed to be there to complete Kylo Ren's arc. Once again, I know that what I just said, some people might brush it off and deny it. Some people might accept it. Again, your opinion is your opinion. The score on The Last Jedi. I think it's the second trailer that has it. The bum, 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 ba-da-da, bum, ba-da-da, bum, ba-da-da, bum, 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 bum. I freaking love that score. The music was so well done in this film. John Williams, you're the master. For The Rise of Skywalker, I didn't think the music was that good, because it was just recycled music all over the place and misused. But in this movie, oh my goodness, it was so well done. It really made me feel Star Wars. It made me feel that it was a separate era from the original trilogy and the sequel trilogy. It felt so good to have that sense of music. Now, let's pull out the big guns. Rose. I don't blame the actress. I blame the character. I can see what they were trying to do with the character. They were trying to make this wholesome person that only wants good. It doesn't help that they gave her one of the worst stories in the movie. Like that Canto Bite scene. I'll be honest. I watched an edited version of The Last Jedi that just skips that scene. And that's probably why I like The Last Jedi so much. Because every time I watch it without that scene in it. It just felt like they were just filling out moments of the story. I can see why. The way they're telling the story of her character is throughout the most boring story, or I guess side story, in the movie. Maybe in the entire Star Wars saga. So by the time the big moment comes for her to be like, what is it, like, not killing what we hate, saving what we love. By that time, the audience is like, I'm done. Who is this person that's just gonna come in here and do this? So it doesn't feel powerful. And people think, oh, Finn was gonna sacrifice himself and that was gonna be a good character arc. But if you watch the movie, the powerful laser that the cannon that the First Order had that was about to penetrate the door, Finn's tiny little ship was not gonna destroy that cannon. Finn's ship was tearing itself apart, just driving towards it. There was no way that by Finn going inside there, anything was going to happen. So Rose did save Finn. Instead, Finn didn't die in vain. So that was a good thing that she saved him. It's just that when it happens, you already have that thing in your mind of like, they went to the friggin' most boring place in the world that when she appears on screen, you think this scene is already going to be boring. So, for me, I understand why people hate that. Now, a lot of the things that people hate about The Last Jedi, some of them got sort of fixed in The Rise of Skywalker. So, maybe now that you know what happens to Rise of Skywalker, maybe you won't hate The Last Jedi less. I really like The Last Jedi. Again, it's my favorite sequel trilogy. It made me love the characters of the sequels more. I really like Poe. I didn't get to talk about his character development, but come on, he becomes from being this boy who wants to show off to being this leader, to being the next general, and his arc makes perfect sense towards the Rise of Skywalker. It makes perfect sense. So I hope after watching this video, you like The Last Jedi a little bit more, you understand it a little bit more, you hate it less. If you ended up hating it more, then my bad. But hopefully you understand that Star Wars is good in all forms. Don't hate it. Don't wish something else would have happened, because it's never going to happen. That being said, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.